gotta get too greasy nowadays. Ask your man for them facts.
Life is living easier around it,
So we gotta get that cash. You couldn't walk a mile in my shoes.
How you gonna talk about laps?
Yeah.
Put somebody must have gave you 9 lives, but I ain't talking cats.
It goes.
There you go. I thought that'd wake you up a little bit after lunch, eh? So the young people that you see in that video said to me that you couldn't walk a mile in my shoes. And I said, maybe I couldn't, but I can help you tie your laces. And then we made a track together that reflected the conversation, and that's what we came up with. An anti-violent message, something that doesn't glorify or glamorize violence and antisocial behaviour. So, ladies, gentlemen, esteemed guests, Roger Hurst, Jane Gardner, BJ Harrington, Anna Firth, Rick Hilton, to all of the amazing people in the room. So many familiar faces here today. I think we've got another poet in Andy Prophet. Where's Andy Prophet? He does do poetry. I'm the managing director of Map Pathways CIC, an all-new not-for-profit company established to deliver alternative educational provisions and interventions in affiliation with multiple agencies across the criminal justice sector as part of a public health approach to building a safer community. I'm also the founder of Knife Crime Victim Support, a charitable initiative that supports victims and survivors of serious violence across the country. Together with a dedicated team, we make every effort to lift the fallen, restore the broken, and encourage the discouraged. It's an absolute honour and a privilege to be invited to join you all today at the Essex PFCC Community Safety Conference 2024. Essex, for me, is a county that genuinely has a piece of my heart. It's like a home from home. And as a youth mentor based in Northamptonshire, I was first invited here by none other than your very own Jim White. We always have to say Jim White because it's like, is it the other Jim? No, it's not the other Jim, it's Jim White. And so he's an influential DCI at the time, and I'm confident he has left somewhat of a legacy in his wake. After our initial meeting at a Serve event hosted by Northants Police, he asked me to deliver a creative writing workshops at the Perspectives on Violence conference brought together by the VVU in 2020, as we will remember. Since then, I've gone on to consult with and sit on the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Board, which has since gone on to change its name, for Operational Policing Command and Essex Police. And I've partnered with Essex Children in Care Council, also teamed up with the Youth Offending Volunteers and collaborated with the amazing Katie Cannon and Jim Pearson at the Violence and Vulnerability Unit, which is essentially what brings me here today. But hold that thought. As a spoken word artist and a professional youth mentor, I work with schools, colleges, pupil referral units, prisons and charitable organisations across the UK to help children, young people and vulnerable adults express their thoughts, talk about their feelings, share their worries and communicate their concerns through music, through creative writing, through spoken word and other forms of art. We also look to build resilience and cultivate emotional intelligence whilst recognising achievements and celebrating success, which I think is a fundamental part of nurturing those all-important protective factors, with a focus on reducing impulsive and risky behaviour. I'll share a short video with you now, 2 minutes.
Now, to a rapper who has worked with the big names like Stormzy and Lethal Bizzle, but now Champagne Bubbler is mentoring youngsters to help combat knife crime.
A rapper who's worked with artists like Stormzy and Wiley is helping to steer young people in Hertfordshire away from knife crime. Quinton Green, aka Champagne Bubbler, was on the periphery of gangs as a youth and has been stabbed 7 times. He set up Knife Crime Victim Support.
I was stabbed 7 times across the front of my body, on my arms and in my lungs. I passed out at a garage. And actually a nurse was there and stemmed the bleeding. And I think if that nurse wasn't there, I wouldn't even like to, think about what might have happened.
We ain't coming on. We ain't coming on. No.
Quinton's a successful rapper, but 20 years ago he was stabbed in a fight. Now he runs a charity that aims to steer teenagers away from gangs and street violence.
What was it? Was there a light bulb moment that changed things for you that made you think, do you know what, I'm going on a different path now?
Yeah, I think, it's the impact that some of my actions have on people close to me and around me, and it's something that I regret massively, and I feel deep remorse for. Looking at alternative provisions is a way forward. Early intervention and identifying where there may be problematic behaviour and addressing it pretty quickly, and giving some of the youngsters something to aspire to.
And they're already seeing great results.
We've had, over the 7 weeks, 100% attendance every week, which for the types of young people we work with is outstanding. We've had children that have been missing and have then come here every week to take part in the course. So that for us is a really, really good result. There's been massive beaming smiles, really good peer support, really good communication with us as police officers, with Youth Connections, with Quinton, with each other, and also really amazing talent.
If you think we should stop knife crime, make some noise.
You do know that I'm going to ask you all to do that, don't you? But I'll save it later. I'm going to let you prepare first. Let you prepare. So yeah, thank you. So Champagne Bubbler, as she said on the newsreel, was an alter ego of mine, and it's been quite the journey since then. A number of people have asked me why am I youth mentor? As you may have guessed, I answered in the best way I know how, and that's through poetry. This is a short excerpt of a poem that I call Field of Vision, which begins to explain why. Why am I a youth mentor? Well, if somebody can't see where they're going, they can ask someone who's been there before. I'm not a tutor from school or a social worker with a clipboard. But if you can find it in yourself to forgive me for my flaws, I'll tell everyone I speak to you've got everything to live for. I haven't got the degree, but I graduated from a place that's predominantly full of needs. Yeah, not engaged in education, employment or training. But tell that to a young G who's just been given half a 9 and a trap line to get on the train with. The best way to predict your future is to create it. But when the disadvantage is blatant, sometimes you have to go back to the basics. What I'm saying is, if nobody told you can reach for the stars, then why would you even think to start building a spaceship? I would say they're in the same predicament I was in, so that kind of means I can begin to empathize with them. Build some trust, a safe place to retreat to. I would ask them, are you hard to reach? Or is it hard for them to reach you? I know you come from conflict and sometimes you feel like throwing a towel in, but I'll be in your corner so you can put another round it. Why am I a youth mentor? To encourage hope and imagination, to build resilience and wonder, but most of all, to be the person I needed when I was younger. I've got a lot more hair there. Yeah, it's not quite that situation now. You can find Field of Vision online or scan the QR code. You'll see on the tables that you've got a QR code. I came here early and put some of the leaflets on the table. That was a poem that was commissioned by London Youth Lifeline Projects and the Mayor of London in partnership with the wonderful Anushka Dunic, who's sat with me at my table today. So Field of Vision is a story of transformation. It tells my story of coming from a dysfunctional background and overcoming adversity to position myself as an example of change. There's a quote that says, "Your mistakes don't define your character. It's what you choose to do after you have made those mistakes that make all the difference." In life, we essentially have 3 options: do worse, do the same, or do better. And although progress is not linear, I choose to do better. By taking accountability, I took control of my destiny, turned my pain into purpose and my wounds into wisdom. Because if there's time to turn it around. When I work with young people, I come from a place of relatability and authenticity, and I've said this somewhere before. Because I wonder if, as a teenager, they're watching how the olders carry themselves and it's learned behavior. I wonder if by the age of 12, he never had a father, and why at the age of 13, he had his first balaclava. Was he ever scared? Is it that mum don't care? Is it just that she was never there? Maybe she's out trying to provide for the family, and by the time she gets back, she feels tired and angry. Are the arguments at home? Is there a lack of affection? Are the boys outside offering them protection? From the youths up the road in a different postcode, the reason why you always go the long way home. So then, before I introduce you to our premiere, I just wanted to take a moment to thank my team who are with me today. Anushka Dunic, former Met Police, who works closely with the Benkinseller Trust and works with us as a learning and development consultant. Josh Darko, who's here today. He's our in-house creative director and my right-hand man. I'll call him the consigliere. And Julie Taylor from the Liam Taylor legacy. After tragically losing her beloved grandson, Liam Fish Taylor, to knife crime in 2020, Julie has become a beacon of light, demonstrating extraordinary courage in creating the Liam Taylor legacy in her grandson's name and placing life-saving bleed kits across the country. We work in schools and in prisons together as part of a continued initiative to address root causes of serious violence in Essex and further afield. I want to thank you, Julie. You're an absolute inspiration. I've got a quote that I always say to you, which is, wear your heart on your sleeve, and that's when they start to believe.
Sometimes you look down at that scar on your arm and think, how did you get here when life's hardly begun? You came in from outside and started arguing with mum. She was out last night and asking for her son. Because it's cold out there, in more ways than one. You go downstairs acting all nonchalant. You both used to hug, but those days seem long gone. When your key worker asks why, you say you ain't where I'm from. For me, there's a thin line between tears and rage, especially when you've seen what you've seen at your age. I mean, your best mate was never meant to be on the front page. He lost his life on the estate and you're the last one to see his face. You look up to the sky and ask if he can hear you. You wonder if he wanted you to chase after his killer. And even though it was hard to let go, a part of your instincts was telling you no. For both of you to lose your life would be crazy, especially when your wife is expecting a baby. Even your friend asked you to stop moving mad. Now you've got an opportunity to prove you can be a dad and move into a pad. And it can't be easy, hearing all this new stuff, working towards a fearless future. From being naturally enraged to actively engaged, keeping away from the margins like words on a page. When you met with your PO, what's that thing you used to say? I'd rather make another man's mum cry than have a hearse take me away. I think you got caught lacking because you lacked a purpose. And there's a younger in you still acting nervous. Reminded he must have been remanded in custody when he woke up on the wing and they were lining up for him. But that little boy wasn't resilient yet. Didn't know he was exposed to an imminent threat. Maybe we could sit down and write him a letter and tell him one day that things will get better and tell him one day he'll get the right intervention, that he won't have to walk with a knife for protection, that you'll talk about the things he wasn't likely to mention, that the road wasn't easy but you're rising eventually. Tell him you started a project that helped you into uni. Now the only op you see is the op in opportunity. How does it feel? Now you're not living under lock and key. Now you're not watching your back because you're wanted for a robbery. How does it feel to know you came from poverty? To know you're an example of change when you wasn't raised properly? How does it feel to go from living life too fast to raising a family, a new life on the new path? How does it feel to know you're a mentor and a teacher? How does it feel to help others towards a fearless future?